Okay, hello, good morning, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. My name is Freddy Oswaldo Cruz. I'm glad to be here this beautiful morning. I'm a student from English Didactics 2, whose tutor is Ligda Santos Edith Baires Alvarado. Arevalo, sorry. Today I'll be talking about teaching children with learning disabilities. But before starting, allow me to tell you how I could teach English to kids with a disability. You may not know this about me, but I am an English teacher. I can tell you that I have some students with some disabilities. What I do is that I treat the special students the same way I treat the others. I don't discriminate against them. What's more, I make groups and I include the special kids so that they try to get familiar with the topic being studied. For example, I will teach the color with these garments. I will show the garment and at the same time I will say the color. This is just one idea of how I could teach clothes for children with some disabilities. Now let's move on to the slide number 3. And this is the card, the presentation. I will try to answer this question. Number 1, what's the history behind teaching children with disabilities? Okay, a long time ago, children with learning disabilities did not have the legal right to an education. What do I mean by that? Well, children with visual problems, deafness, mental issues, motor skills, etc., were sent to private mental institutions where they were badly treated. But this has changed. In 1816, the first special education school was created by a man named William Gallaudet. As a result, many more other schools followed the same example. At the beginning of the 1900s, professionals start to see that social interaction between children with disabilities and children without disabilities had a positive impact on education. Even so, with these viewpoints, parents continued to send their children to mental institutions because they believed that they were the only places that offered the correct training for their children. So that was the answer for this slide. Let's continue. Number 2, what are the underlying principles? Okay, allow me to list 5 principles that were achieved due to the struggle of many people of these special children. For these special children, the first one, free appropriate public education. The purpose of this was to help ensure every child could have access to a free, appropriate public education, something that was denied to them in the past. The second one was appropriate evaluation. As its name suggests, the teachers should look at different ways to evaluate these children since they are different. The third one, individualized education plan. In order to make a difference in these children's lives, we need to create individualized education plans to ensure they will be able to succeed in the school. The fourth, least restrictive environment. What do I mean by this? The physical structure of the school must be adequate for every child with disabilities. This means that if there aren't any elevators or a special path for those who use wheelchairs, the school's authorities should do something about it. Number 5, parents' participation. This is a very important point. The last but not the least important principle is parents' participation. The parents need to be involved in the development of their children, especially for those with learning disabilities. This must be mandatory if they want a better education for their children. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Question number 3. What should teachers keep an eye on when teaching children with disabilities? As future teachers, we must keep an eye on them. Especially with those kids, we need to make sure that the topic we are presenting is clearly understood by them. We could ask some questions to find out if they got at least the main idea about the class. I know this is not an easy task, but we must do our best to facilitate knowledge to them. Okay, let's continue with the next slide, number 6. And the question number 4. How can teachers become effective when teaching EFL to children with learning disabilities? That is a good question, right? Yes. Okay, teaching EFL to children with learning disabilities is a challenge, that's for sure. We must read information on how to make our classes effective, or we could also watch some videos on YouTube. There are tons of videos on the web that might help us to make learning easier for these kids. The next question, it says, which specific practice can a teacher employ to support the student with learning disabilities? Okay, allow me to list 3 specific practices a teacher can employ to support a student with disabilities. Number 1, sit these students in the first seats. By doing this, we could check if they are getting the ideas of the class or not. 2, treat these children as if they had no disability. This might help them feel part of the group. 3, dedicate some time out of school to catch up with the lessons they have not understood. Okay, we're almost finishing. Let's continue with the slide number 8. And it says the question, considering that school-aged students are exposed to a very limited input, and many times this input occurs in large group settings, What strategies should teachers employ to cater to the needs of students with learning disabilities? Okay, there is no doubt that our students have little input into the language. What I do personally is that I take some time to prepare special exercises and I assign them in Google Classroom. For example, I've done some PowerPoint presentations where the students have to match some match exercises and writing exercises too. I also uploaded some MP3 audios where they have to fill in the blanks with the right word, etc. By doing this, our students will have extra practice with the language. It is just a matter of creativity and will. It requires a bit of effort. I know that it won't be easy, but these kids will be thankful when they become professionals and say, "Thanks to my teacher, I am who I am now." That'll be our best reward. Okay, that was all for today. See you next time.